Hello, everybody. Welcome to MFA Media Group. It is September 5th, 2018. And ladies and gentlemen, hours ago, there was a magnitude 6.7 to 6.8 that rocked the northern island of Japan. And just days before, they were undergoing torrential rains and downpours from a massive typhoon that was moving in. And ladies and gentlemen, this earthquake has caused significant damage in this heavily populated northern region of Japan. And we're going to be going over quite a bit of information in the next hour. And I have some feeds right up here at the top that are coming in directly from Japan. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to go ahead and jump into our live feed here real quick as they're getting their notifications. So just bear with me for just one moment. As I was reviewing some of this information, I was seeing that some of this damage was quite significant. Roads buckling, damage to a lot of buildings, damage to the airport. So we're gonna go ahead and check some of that out here momentarily. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the live feed on my cell phone. Just give me 1 second, so I could see all of you. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run some of this live feed right now. This is actually this is in Japanese. You definitely won't be able to understand it. I'm not able to understand it either. But they're going to go ahead and they're going to show you some of this significant damage. And just take a look at this. I'm going to go ahead and expand the screen here real quick and take a look at this. This earthquake happened at 3 a.m. in the morning while everybody was sleeping. So check this out. いた方が多数巻き込まれている可能性があります。これ一刻も早い救助活動が待たれますが、ご覧のように依然として、厚真町では土砂崩れの映像が流れていますけれども、かなり大規模な、この土砂崩れが、起きています。おそらくはこの中に多数の方が生き埋めになっているということが考えられます。一刻も早い救助活動が期待されます。それではここで、産業技術総合研究所活断層火山研究部門の宍倉正信さんにお越しいただきました。宍倉さん、よろしくお願いいたします。What they're showing you there are the massive landslides that came down and wiped out a lot of homes. 震度6強という、かなり強い地震になりました。この地震に関してどういったことが考えられますか？
今回の地震はですね、内陸部に震源があります。そうしますと、この場所の位置からしますと、今知られている活断層としましては、石狩低地桃源断層帯というのがですね、こう南北に伸びているんですけれども、ちょうど今回の地震の震央位置というのがこの断層帯の線の少し、東側にありますので、今のところこういった断層帯との関係が I'm going to go ahead and turn the volume down a little bit, and I'm going to use my Japanese
translation skills here real quick. And what he was showing you there is he was showing you the region of Japan. This is in the northern island where this occurred. And again, folks, this was at 3 a.m. in the morning. And, you know, just about everybody would be sleeping about that time except me. There has been mass destruction with this particular earthquake. The reason being, when you're dealing with earthquakes, when these earthquakes are shallow, and I mean at depths of maybe 20, 30, 40, 50, even 100 kilometers deep, those are considered very, very shallow earthquakes. The tremor and the energy is very, very close to the upper surface. Therefore, you are going to have more shaking and more damage. And what you're looking at right here is a massive stretch of land, a cliff that has literally come down and devastated everything that was below it. There is mass destruction in this northern region of Japan. I'm going to go ahead and go forward a little bit on this live stream. And this is coming in from FNN Prime, and this is directly out of Japan. Right up here, folks, this is that northern island that I'm talking about. All of the area that you see in red was the affected area. And they're going to go ahead and just this feed actually was live, but they've actually stopped the live feed, but we're going to go ahead and just go through it. And they're showing you here what magnitude these people felt. So we're going to go ahead and move forward just a little bit, and this is going to go right into this landslide. Look at that devastation. Wow. Right down here in the lower right-hand corner, you're going to see the red dot. That's also going to give you the region where this massive earthquake occurred. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, last night I was on a video conference with some of the fantastic board members of MFA Media Group, and we were looking, and I was showing them some of the video footage from the Solar Dynamics Observatory, and that's a spacecraft that NASA put up within our atmosphere quite a while ago. I'd have to say it's been up there for about maybe 12 to 15 years. Now that SDO space probe that monitors the sun from 93 million miles away. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that information up for you because the sun plays a significant role in these larger earthquakes. Now, some scientists may disagree, but the majority of scientists will tell you, including Dr. Albers has done many reports on this, as these very large coronal holes are facing the Earth. They are producing very large, high-speed streams of energy directly towards the Earth. Not more than 24 hours ago, one of these coronal holes was opening up, and I was showing the board members this coronal hole. And I'm going to go ahead and flip over to that real quick because I have the SDO up right now. And I'm going to show you what I'm referring to. Now, if you just follow my cursor, that black hole right there, where my cursor is, right there in the center, that is just about the region where the Earth is aligned with the sun. So we are just a little bit below the sun's equatorial region. As you can see, that large black coronal hole is basically, that is the sun's atmosphere opening up. And all of that radiation, all of those high-speed particles are streaming out of there at 1,000,000 miles per hour. It doesn't take very long for those heavily charged particles to impact the Earth. Now, it does take a few hours for those particles, those heavily charged particles, to literally penetrate deep inside of the Earth. And then, boom, a huge earthquake is induced. Now, the bad part about all of this, ladies and gentlemen, if you look to the left right here, you are going to see another very large coronal hole opening up right in front of your eyes. It's right here. That's going to be Earth facing within the next 12 to 24 hours. So as this stream of energy leaves us in about 12 to 24 hours, we are going to be facing another very heavy stream of particles coming from the sun. So, as I was speaking with the board members last night, I was showing them this exact footage, and this is up to date. This is a 48-hour loop that is up to date every second. And I was telling them and showing them what you're seeing right here on your screen now. And I said, you can guarantee that coronal hole is Earth facing. We are definitely going to have a large earthquake somewhere on this planet within the next 24 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, at 3 a.m. Japan time, that 6.8 earthquake struck. It was followed up by, I believe, a 5.3 earthquake, and that is not an aftershock. That was another earthquake. So, folks, the Earth isn't out of the woods yet. I would say we are going to be, well, probably in jeopardy for about the next 5 to 7 days as this hole moves by and that next large coronal hole moves directly Earth-facing within the next 12 to 24 hours. So that is what I monitor. That is what I look at. And that is definitely a huge factor in earthquake forecasting. Now you can see there's quite a bit of action right over here in the United States, all on the West Coast, all up here in Alaska, and a 4.8 down here in Chile, and out in Tonga 7 hours ago, a magnitude 5.3. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here into Japan, and you can see where this northern island is. And folks, this is a very heavily populated area, very heavily populated. Now you can see here was the 6.7. It was at a depth of 39 kilometers. That is considered very shallow. Right after that was a magnitude 5.4, a 5.3, another 4.3, and a 4.6. So this entire region right here was rocking, and there was quite a bit of devastation. This map just repopulated, and what do we have right here? Dead center in the middle of Idaho. Kind of a rare 2.3 magnitude earthquake right there. But let's back out and see if there were any earthquakes that occurred over here. No. Right here at the tip of Russia, magnitude 4.6. So, folks, you can guarantee within the next 12 to 24 hours, that's what we're going to be facing here on Earth. Now, we're going to go ahead and shoot back over here to the live feed that was going off on this Japanese network. Absolutely beautiful city. I believe that would be Tokyo right there. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit. And we're going to move out of the countryside here. We're going to take a look at some of the road damage. Now, as you can see there, I mean, those roads are just absolutely devastated. Now, this is a helicopter view that you're seeing right now. I guess they are surveying the damage at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the audio for a minute.
救助されて搬送されていきます。ただこの大規模な土砂崩れ巻き込まれたのは少なくとも5軒以上の家屋というふうに伝えられています。あるいはもっとたくさんの家屋が土砂崩れに巻き込まれているかもしれません。ざっと見ただけで数百メートルにわたって土砂が崩れ落ちているという姿が
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go forward a little bit here, and I believe there's more footage of damage. Those roads and the roofs of those buildings from that landslide absolutely devastated. Wow. You know, folks, some of these countries that have these earthquakes, I don't know how they recover after this amount of damage. I mean, look at this. These hillsides have just completely collapsed. I'm going to go ahead and jump forward a little bit. Just bear with me. Okay, this is more of the city view. Wow, their roads. Look at the rippling effect in the roads. Even the newscasters have crash helmets on. Wow, look at this. This was I guess a sky cam on a building. Look at the amount of shaking. Oh my Lord. That is absolutely incredible. This is a CCTV camera inside of a newsroom. And they're going to be jumping around. Well, that was a liquor store. Total devastation there. I guess there was a lot of sake bottles that broke at that point in time. Look at the devastation to this road. Completely collapsed. That's a pretty big hole in the asphalt there. You know, like I said, folks, I don't know how they absolutely recover from this. I mean, these homes are completely devastated, knocked off the foundations. I'm going to go ahead and skip forward a little bit. I believe this was at the airport. Now, the airport in this area did suffer significant damage. Luckily, at this time of night, at 3 a.m., hopefully there wasn't a lot of people in there, but you can see these huge landslides that have occurred. And you know, folks, probably the main reason why some of this occurred is because of that massive cyclone or typhoon that impacted Japan just, hours before this massive earthquake. Look at the devastation to that house. It's completely unrecognizable. The destruction on this northern island is pretty intense, folks. A magnitude 6.8 is a strong earthquake. However, as I mentioned before in the very beginning of our broadcast, this magnitude 6.8 was very, very close to the surface. Approximately, 39 to 43 kilometers deep. Look at this devastation. My God. I mean, that looks like a tidal wave rolled in from the ocean and just ripped the guts out of this rural community. And that is how far-reaching this earthquake damage has gone. It went from the heavily populated city area all the way out to the rural district. And you can see the devastation. I mean, this is total 100% loss, unrecoverable from this point on. Wow. I'm going to go ahead and turn on some audio here, even though none of us speak Japanese. We could go ahead and listen to some of the commentary.
ですね。場所によっては地域によってはですね、役場では震度6強だったかもしれませんが、こういったところは震度7に近い揺れを経験しているかもしれないですね。
そうですね。こういった災害をご覧になっている山村所長ですが、印象としては、6強といってももしかすると6強のクラスでは7に近いものかもしれない。
特にこの斜面に対してね、あれだけ広い範囲で土砂災害が同時に発生しているというのは、地盤とか地質とかっていろいろな影響があると思います。この地域は比較的火山灰がですね、基準になっている地質が多いんですけれども、近くには火山もいくつかありますからですね、それにしても激しい崖崩れ、こんなに同時に土砂災害が発生したケースっていうのは地震でも少ないですね。同じ場所で一気に落ちてるっていう感じですよね。
宍倉さんもうなずいてらっしゃいますが、
そうですね。先ほど山村さんもおっしゃったようにですね、この地域っていうのは火山灰。
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let me translate some of that Japanese for you. I think these two are discussing the damage and they are saying, "Holy hell, look what has just happened." That's my translation from Japanese to English. And folks, it's been quite a while since I've seen earthquakes produce these types of landslides. This was definitely caused by torrential rains and downpours that hit this northern island, and actually a lot of Japan, only I think maybe 24 to 48 hours before this earthquake actually occurred. Now, here's what I am thinking. Folks, I just showed you the other coronal hole that is going to be facing the Earth in approximately 12 to 24 hours. I only hope and pray for these people in Japan that they do not suffer another magnitude 6 and above earthquake. Because right now, under the saturation levels of their ground and their land, it will be absolutely more devastation upon what you are actually seeing right now. I was getting initial reports in that approximately 75 to 100 people have already been killed, and there are a lot of people that are missing. Now, just looking at this destruction, I'm just going to assume that this death toll will be rising as the hours and the days go by. And once again, folks, let's say a prayer for these people, because there have been family members that have been lost in this devastation. I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit forward here, and we're going to look at wow. Okay, this is a residential neighborhood right outside of the main city and on this northern island. My God, it looks like some of the buildings to the left have absolutely sunk. Their foundations have sunk. That looks approximately anywhere from 6 to 8 feet. Total devastation. Folks, as I was saying earlier, how do you even go about fixing this? I mean, these buildings are completely knocked off their foundations. They're twisted, they're crooked, they're leaning. I mean, this is total devastation. None of these structures are safe. And I guess, they'll have to break out the bulldozers, and these folks will once again have to start over. Look at the rippling effect in the roadways here in the asphalt. I mean, it looks like a wrinkled sheet of paper. The people in Japan, absolutely fantastic engineers, pioneers in building technology and earthquake technology. But let's face it, folks, when Mother Nature strikes, even with the best technology in the world, she's going to get you. And we can see the devastation here by just looking at this roadway. Wow. And you could see right underneath this roadway, they have it reinforced, which looks like solid concrete. And even the concrete curbs that you're looking at right now, cracked in half. That asphalt is several inches thick with a base of dirt below it and solid concrete underneath it. But the earthquake was entirely too strong and very, very shallow, so this roadway just did not make it. I'm going to go ahead and pan forward a little bit and see what else we can find here. Okay, what he's explaining here is this was a slip. Now, in these types of earthquakes, and I'm going to go ahead and just stop it right here. And what he's explaining right here, folks, this is one plate moving underneath another plate. When that happens, this plate right here, as it is pushing and creating that friction, all of a sudden, this plate right here pops up. And when it pops up like that, that is what creates that type of devastation. That is what creates this type of earthquake. Wow, this is just absolute devastation there. Now he's showing you here on these storyboards the exact location of the earthquake. So it was in the southern region of this most northern island off the coast of Japan. And there are a lot of people that live here, folks. I mean, we all know that, Japan is a very small island nation, but they are literally, stacked on top of each other. Once again, he's pulling out some storyboards, and he is showing you the dynamics of this type of earthquake and what has actually occurred. And these types of earthquakes here, what he's explaining, these types of earthquakes are the most devastating. When you get the tectonic plates sliding against each other, that's, that can induce some heavy damage. But when you have these uplifts are what create massive devastation and loss of life. So hopefully over the course of the next 5 to 7 days, hopefully these folks do not endure any more earthquakes or damage. But I do believe, from what I'm seeing now and the reports that are coming in, the death toll is probably going to rise considerably, taking into consideration that this earthquake hit at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to turn on a little bit of the commentary.
東側が西側に向かってせり上がる形になりますので、
こちら縦に断層帯南北に走っていますが、この東側の部分が、のし上がりは、
そうしますとこちらのちょうど、震源のある上番側というんですけど、そこが揺れが大きくなるというような特徴もあります。でちょうど石狩低地、この断層が伸びてますので、ちょうど石狩低地というのは地盤があまり良くない場所。
Okay, folks, I think what he's discussing there is the possibility of a fault line that is running right. I'm just going to back that up just a second, and I'm going to pause it. Now, let me just move up a little bit, get his hand out of the way. Come on, sir. Move your hand out of the way. Okay, there we go. I think what he is discussing, there is a fault line. There are several small fault lines you can see outlined in red. And I believe this is a much larger fault. And this earthquake occurred just slightly east of this fault line. Magnitude 6.8. And very, very shallow. I'm going to go ahead and skip forward a little bit in their live feed. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at more of this damage. I have some other news feeds directly coming out of Tokyo. And we're going to go over that information here very, very shortly. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the audio.
こちらの住宅ですね、もう本当に手前にいつ倒れてもおかしくないぐらいにですね、大きく傾いています。で、真ん中にですね、建物、家の間に鉄柱があるんですけれども、この鉄柱によって右側の家が支えられているような形になっています。何度も今こちらの地域でも余震を観測しています。
Wow, folks, these buildings are completely devastated. There's nothing that you can do to save these buildings, and that's what he's talking about right now. You could already see busted water lines. Absolutely no electrical power. None of these buildings are safe to live in. So, I mean, you're basically looking at total destruction. Once they feel that the area is safe enough to move in. All of these buildings will be torn down. And you're looking at probably tens of thousands of people that will literally be displaced for quite some time. I'm going to go ahead and move forward a little bit. It looks like they're interviewing some people that have already been displaced, or these people may be at the airport. I'm going to go ahead and just move forward just a little bit. Maybe not. I think these folks may be in line for seeking aid at this point in time. Very sad situation. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to another news station here. And I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Information.
Now, this is in English. Some of the... I'm going to go ahead and back this all the way up. This is being translated into English, so we will be able to understand it. I'm going to go ahead and blow this up full screen so we can see it.
The 5 residents were trapped in the mudslide. 40 people have been isolated in Atsuma Town, Hokkaido, and 5 people are engulfed in mudslides. That's the latest information that we have from the Prime Minister's office. This is the footage taken at 5 a.m. A massive landslide has occurred in Atsuma Town. Mr. Kanamori, when we are looking at this slope of these mountains, there are some dark areas and light areas, white areas. What can you say about that? The white stripes might be where the water flew, or the volcanic ash may have surfaced. Anyway, this region was hit by strong tremors, and water came out from the mud. And this type of disaster could happen at the time of the strong earthquake. So the mud is covering the road, and in some places, the mud runs into the river. So yes, so you need to be careful about that. Once the mud runs into the river, that stops the smooth flow of the river, and that may cause the flooding in the nearby areas. And this may trigger another mudslide, so please do not get close to a river. Please stay safe.
So I'm going to go ahead and mute that for just a few minutes. Now, what I'm gathering is they were talking about that white substance that was all over the roofs of those destroyed houses. They were mentioning that may possibly be very, very old or ancient volcanic ash that has arisen from these major fissures, cracks, and landslide devastation. Now they're worried about the volcanic ash mixed with all of the dirt flowing directly into that river, and that may possibly back up that very thin and windy, narrow river and cause additional flooding. So I guess over the course of the next couple of weeks, these folks in this region of Japan are going to be very, very busy. Wow, look at this. You already see water. That may be from a busted water line. You could see how deep the land has fallen. Wow. It seems that this earthquake has completely reshaped some of this region. I'm going to go ahead and turn the audio back on, and this audio is in English.
Please use mail or SNS to tell the information to people in Hokkaido. They may not be able to reach those information because of the power outage. And as we have been reporting, this is just in. Prime Minister Abe has been holding an emergency meeting with the cabinet members, and he says that regarding the Kansai airport, he will instruct the resumption of the domestic air service tomorrow. And Prime Minister Abe has been holding a meeting with his cabinet member at 8:40, and he referred to the Kansai airport, which has been closed due to the typhoon, and he says that domestic service will resume tomorrow, and international flight will also resume the service as soon as it is ready. Now, continuing with the earthquake report, as we have been reporting this morning, an earthquake of magnitude 6.7, whose epicenter is central eastern part of Iburi region in Hokkaido, was reported, and Iburi region registered a strong earthquake. JAM is calling for caution, and there are still regions that intensity has not arrived, but still.
Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and pause this right here, and let's take a look at the magnitude of earthquake ratings that they have here. As far north on this northern part of Japan, magnitude 4 as far out over here, magnitude 3, 4, 5 plus. Right in the region near the epicenter, 6 plus. Here's a negative 5, which would be a lower range magnitude 5. So you can see, I mean, this is a pretty big area, and the epicenter being right here where the X is. This was absolutely devastating. Now, the lady that was doing the translation, she was mentioning that they were just about to reopen the major airport in this area because it was shut down during that typhoon that hit, maybe 24 hours earlier? And then now, all of a sudden, before they could even get the airport opened, they get smacked with a magnitude 6.8 earthquake, which has totally devastated this northern region of Japan. We're going to go ahead and get back to some of her commentary.
Fell off. Please do not get close to the unstable housing. Even if the housing or buildings look safe from outside, it might have sustained damage internally. So for the time being, people should evacuate, take shelter to other safer areas.
Wow, this is massive devastation, folks. I mean, this is as bad as it gets
there are many
during
people
an
in Hokkaido
earthquake.
who are not able to get access to information because of power outages. So if you have friends, acquaintances, families in Hokkaido, please share information and news. You can help those people in Hokkaido by sharing information. We bring you update on the earthquake.
As we've been reporting, an early morning earthquake has triggered landslides, caused widespread damage and left the whole of Japan's northern Hokkaido prefecture without power. Strong aftershocks have followed and thousands of rescue crews are being mobilized. There have been reports of at least 53 people injured and about 20 people missing.
Hey, we're going to be seeing some camera footage from the actual shaking.
The quake hit shortly after 3 a.m. on the western part of the island, leaving everyone in the dark. The meteorological agency estimates the magnitude was 6.7. Near the epicenter, landslides wiped out homes in the town of Atsuma. 10 people have been rescued by helicopter so far. Rescuers fear people are trapped inside their homes. The extent of the damage is still being assessed, but throughout the prefecture, buildings are tilted and roads are cracked and buckled. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says his government has set up an emergency task force that's putting a priority on search and rescue. He says 25,000 self-defense troops will be sent. Evacuation shelters are being set up in many towns and cities. Water has been cut to some areas and mobile phone services have been disrupted.
寝てたんですけど急に来たもんですからねすぐもう起きてもう戸を開けようとしたってもうこう揺れてひどいもんですからもう戸につかまさってやっと出てきた。とりあえず家の中ぐちゃぐちゃでなんかとりあえず広いところに行こうと思って食べ物もあるしと思って来ました。
Hospitals are on emergency backup power as crews try to restore power to nearly 3 million buildings on the island. 6 hospitals are turning away emergency patients because of the outages. The country's nuclear regulator says the island's Tomari nuclear power plant is using emergency generators, but no irregularities have been reported.
Oh boy.
Officials say the backup power will last for at least a week. The powerful earthquake has stopped public transit. Aviation authorities cancelled all flights at Shin-Chitose Airport on Thursday. Workers at the airport are checking the runways and flights will resume once they're deemed safe. Shinkansen service is suspended. Local trains have stopped. Liquefaction has been observed, causing public transportation to stop operations. Public bus services in Sapporo, Asahikawa and other locations shut down. And some sections of highways in the western part of Hokkaido are closed. Education authorities in Hokkaido say some local municipalities, including Sapporo, have cancelled all classes at elementary and junior high school.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video right here real quick because they mentioned something that is very, very important when dealing with these very, very shallow, devastating earthquakes. She used the word liquefaction. And whenever they use this term liquefaction, that is when the ground literally just splits open. You can see the devastation right there in front of you. But very, very deep underground, you have groundwater. That groundwater is now being churned with soil and then being uplifted out through the fissures, cracks in the roads, cracks in the grounds, and just literally spews up from the ground. So you can see that one section of the roadway that they showed, it looked like a major mudslide had come through there. But that liquefaction is actually coming up from underground, from deep inside of the earth, and it is brought directly to the surface, mixed with the water, the mud, and as you can see here, asphalt, whatever other debris that it brings forward. Let's go ahead and listen a little bit more to the reporter.
This is live footage from the Atsuma town in Hokkaido. There are many landslides within this town.
Now you see these white areas. I'm going to go ahead and just pause this for 1 second. Let me just back this up just a little bit. Let me get to that one point. Oh, maybe I missed it here. What it was showing is it was showing that part of that landslide. Oh my goodness, I messed it all up. What it was showing, folks, in that landslide, I'm going to try to get back to that point, because it was showing that volcanic ash. I'm going to go ahead and mute this and let it play, see if I can move it forward. That volcanic ash has probably been buried underground, for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and now it has been brought to the surface from this massive earthquake. I'm going to go ahead and try to move forward a little bit here so we can see it. Right there where my cursor is. You see these stretches of white right here, all of this. This is the section of the video that I wanted to get to. So these landslides in Atsuma, you can see them. That is volcanic ash that has been buried in the ground for, again, probably hundreds, if not thousands of years. And it has now been brought directly to the surface from this devastating earthquake. Now there you can see it, those lighter colors as they pan over here. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that. Yeah, you can see a little bit. There you go, off to the far, far right of your screen. That right there, that is all volcanic ash. There's a good shot of it right there, folks. Incredible. It's been quite a while since we've seen devastation like this. Last year, they had that major earthquake in central Mexico, not too far outside of Mexico City. A lot of people lost their lives. A lot of children were killed because that earthquake hit in the middle of the afternoon and children were in schools. So this devastation occurred at 3 a.m. Japanese time. All these people were in bed sleeping. You heard the commentary from the elderly lady. She felt the shaking. She knew exactly what it was. And she was holding on for dear life. You could probably guarantee, folks, that anybody that was living and, possibly sleeping in these structures that are at the base of this hillside are probably deceased. That is massive destruction. There is a good shot of the volcanic ash, the white areas of the soil that I'm referring to. And that has all been brought forth after being underground for, again, probably hundreds, if not thousands of years. Absolute, total devastation to this area. And as they were saying, there's about 4 million did they say 4 million buildings in this area of Japan? Because, I mean, if that's what she said, then, or 4 million structures, you know, I guess that would include houses, you know, businesses, office buildings, things of that nature. We're probably going to be seeing a lot more video coming in over the course of the next couple of days showing this devastation in Japan. You know, folks, whenever I got wind of this magnitude 6.8, and I just want to give a big shout out there to Stephen Weber. He inboxed me. He's one of our MFA members. Steve watches the earthquakes for us frequently. And he sent me an inbox message, and he said, you know, hey, you better check this out, man. Magnitude 6.8 just hit Japan. And just as he was sending me that message, I was actually just clicking on my earthquake map, and my earthquake indicator had gone off. But good heads up by Stephen Weber, MFA Media Group reporter. Fantastic job. And there was another gentleman that sent me the other feed, the live feed, coming out of Japan. And, you know, folks, one thing that the reporter said, I don't know if any of you caught on to it, but she was saying share the information, share the information. You know, folks, here in the United States, we have a very hard time sharing the information because we are censored. We're censored by Facebook. We're censored by YouTube. We're censored by Twitter. You know, and in situations like this, you want to be able to get the information out. You know, maybe there are people out there that have family members in Japan. And because we're getting censored, maybe they don't hear about it. But I think everybody has the right to know what is happening at a moment's notice. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the course of the next couple of weeks, we're going to be rolling out the brand new MFA Media Group website. And on that website, we are going to have our own video platform. And it was designed by Vimeo and designed specifically for our needs. So those days of censorship are going to go by the wayside. Let's hear what this reporter has to say.
Homes were damaged and transportation links, including railroads and the main airport, have been disrupted. Here's how the city looks.
We would report to you from Sapporo City. This is Kyoto ward of Sapporo City. This is a residential area. As you can see, the road is very badly damaged.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a manhole. Look at this. This is how far this roadway has sunk. That's incredible. This roadway looks like it has sunk at least 5 to 6 feet. Absolutely incredible.
And you can see this circular object that is probably a man have evacuated from their houses. This was a live coverage from Kyoto ward of Sapporo City. JR Sapporo Station. At JR Sapporo Station, because of the effects of the earthquake, all the trains have stopped, and we don't know when the service would be resumed. And because of the blackout, we cannot have the ticket sales. I came here about 5:30, but many customers were here and waiting for the train service to resume, and they are asking when they can have the train service back up. And about an hour ago, there was an aftershock, and the board has shaken here, so people are in anxiety. A male person who is going back to Kitami, he doesn't know how to get back because no train service or bus service is running. This is a domestic departure lobby of New Chitose Airport. This is going to be closed for all day today. As for the damages, please look at the ceiling.
I'm going to go ahead and mute that for just one moment, folks. And, I don't know if any of you know, but Japan has some of the fastest railways in the world, their train system. And could you only imagine being on one of those high-speed trains that travel, some of them 150 miles an hour and up? But could you only imagine being on one of those high-speed trains as this magnitude 6.8 earthquake was shaking? That probably would have caused a massive derailment. There is a perfect example of what we were referring to earlier as liquefaction. That is the groundwater coming up from deep inside of the earth, mixing with the soil and being brought to the surface through the cracks and the fissures that were caused by this earthquake. So there is a prime example of liquefaction. And liquefaction does happen quite a bit in larger scale earthquakes. I'm going to go ahead and get back to the audio.
It had risen, so there has been much damage here.
If you're just joining us, an early morning earthquake has triggered landslides, caused widespread damage and left the whole of Japan's northern Hokkaido prefecture without power. Strong aftershocks have followed and thousands of rescue crews are being mobilized. There have been reports of over 100 people injured and about 20 people missing. The quake hit shortly after 3 a.m. on the western part of the island, leaving everyone in the dark. The meteorological agency estimates the magnitude was 6.7. Near the epicenter, landslides wiped out homes in the town of Atsuma. 10 people have been rescued by helicopter so far. Rescuers fear people are trapped inside their homes. The extent of the damage is still being assessed, but throughout the prefecture, buildings are tilted and roads are cracked and buckled. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says his government has set up an emergency task force that's putting a priority.
Just absolute devastation, folks. Absolute devastation. Okay, we went over this report right here. And what I wanted to show all of you once again, for anybody that was just tuning in, this is the Solar Dynamics Observatory. This is a NASA spacecraft that monitors the sun from approximately 93 million miles away. It kind of orbits with the Earth. And what we were looking at last night was this very large black area right here in the center of the sun. That is referred to as a coronal hole. That actually is an opening in the surface of the sun, or the atmosphere of the sun. So when those coronal holes open up, right there at that point where my cursor is, that is where the Earth is in alignment with the equatorial region of the sun. What I'm trying to say is we were in direct alignment with the heavily charged particles coming from that coronal hole. Now, folks, it only takes about 24 to 48 hours for that stream to impact the Earth, penetrate the Earth's surface all the way down to the core. And during that time, heavy earthquakes can occur. The majority of the time, they do. They induce large earthquakes. And again, last night, I was in a video conference with some of our MFA Media Group board members, and I was showing them this coronal hole. And I stated, watch very carefully. We're going to have another big earthquake here within the next 24 hours. And actually, we didn't even get to the 24 hours. I think it was maybe 12 to 14 hours later. Bingo! This magnitude 6.8 goes off in the northern section of Japan. The bad part about all of this, folks, is if you look to the far right, the far left of the sun, you can see another massive coronal hole opening up very, very rapidly. Now that will also be Earth facing within the next 12 to 24 hours. So, if you live in an earthquake zone, a heavily seismic area, anywhere on this planet, within the next couple of days, the possibilities of larger earthquakes can occur. We've already seen this happen just today in Japan. And that coronal hole that is opening up in front of you will be directly Earth facing within the next 24 hours. That heavily, those particles, these are heavily charged particles coming from the sun. They will be streaming directly towards the Earth. And once that impact occurs, folks, those particles go through everything. They're even passing through your body as you are out and about. So within the next 24 hours, we may have another very, very large earthquake. Usually when these occurrences happen, this can actually occur. The earthquakes can occur, well, I'd say anywhere between 3 and 5 days after these coronal holes pass by. So again, we're going to be on a pretty heavy earthquake watch worldwide for at least the next 5 to 7 days. One other thing that I want to mention, folks, I'm just going to go ahead and jump over here real quick. And all of you know that the central part of the United States, the Gulf Coast region, has been heavily inundated by this tropical storm. I'm going to go ahead and move down here. Where is my radar map that I want to see? Okay, this section right here, this is all in live time. So this storm has actually broken up, thank God. But I'm sure that there is a lot of flooding and devastation. The issue is all of this moisture is going to be flowing directly up into the northeast. Now, I was just listening to my weather report. I'm in the Pittsburgh area, and they're calling for, on Sunday, up to 6 inches of rain in my area. 6 inches. And that's going to be completely devastating, folks. I live in an area where there are multiple rivers, and they do flood very, very quickly. There are some very low-lying areas that flood whenever we have these situations. We do have, elevations, mountains, and things of that nature. And several of these rivers, well, the one river flows north, the Monongahela River. That flows directly into downtown Pittsburgh. And you can guarantee with 5 to 6 inches of rain, we are going to have a lot of flooding. But you can see all of the convection right here. This is the Gulf of Mexico. You're looking at the tip of Louisiana, Mississippi, and the panhandle of Florida. And even still right now, they have a lot of intense weather going on. I'm going to go ahead and back up here, and we're going to take a look at some of these other models. Okay, and we are going to look and as you can see, now this is going to go ahead and play out, but you can see the intensity as all of this moisture rolls through over the course of the next couple of days. Now, one of the bigger issues is another low pressure, and I'm going to go ahead and back this up. I'm going to back this up a little bit right about here and watch it come from the right of your screen. And that's going to impact directly into North Carolina, Virginia, and this model skirts it right up the coast, right over top of New Jersey. So I'm going to go ahead and back that up again. You can see it. And the pressure is pretty low. So here it comes. And you can see it's going to move right into the Chesapeake Bay area and directly over the state of New Jersey. That will encompass Philadelphia, the whole entire state of Maryland. That could possibly produce some very, 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 very heavy winds and potential flooding. As you can see right here, that big swath of energy is going to be coming in. And that's not going to be nice for us up here in my section of southwestern Pennsylvania, all through Ohio, the entire Ohio River Valley. It's going to be pretty devastating. I'm going to go ahead and jump back over here to the satellite images. And we got Hurricane Olivia brewing. And these storms are starting to get more and more well organized in the Atlantic, folks. So I'd definitely be prepared. You know, if you live anywhere on the east coast of the United States, from this point all the way through November, we may just have a very, very, very active hurricane season, but towards the end. You can see these storms are very, very organized. This is going from September 5th into tomorrow. That's a very well organized hurricane. Let me see if they have. No, that's not what I wanted there. Hold on one second. Yeah, you can see a little bit of shearing right here on this this storm system. That's kind of a good thing, but then again, it's getting into the evening hours, and once we move into the morning hours with the heating of the atmosphere, this storm will probably strengthen quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and look for. This was the Tropical Depression Gordon. Now you can see this rotation right here. Now this is the state of Louisiana right here, and then moving into the panhandle of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. You can see the massive amount of moisture there. Now hopefully some of this will settle down as the evening progresses. But folks, when you have this kind of weather occurring at nighttime, this is very, very dangerous, and they're probably going to undergo quite a bit of flooding. This is definitely going to be moving up into, I'm going to back up here. I'm going to back up here, and we're going to take a look at this. You know, you can see right where my cursor is in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and blow this up a little bit. Let's see if we can get this. Okay, you can see right there where my cursor is. You can start to see that's spinning, and that's going to pull all of that moisture straight up into the East Coast. That is literally going right up through the Ohio Valley. That will be impacting Ohio, West Virginia, parts of Maryland, and definitely into my neck of the woods in southwestern Pennsylvania over the course of the next couple of days. You can see a storm system right here off to the right, and you can see another one brewing here in the Pacific. And you know, folks, this year it's kind of strange. You know, we really don't have that many storm systems brewing in the South Pacific at this time of year. But you can see that is a very, very well organized system down here in the South Pacific. Where that goes, we will definitely see. I'll be keeping my eye on it as the days go by. I'll be keeping my eye on this storm system. Now, this storm system here, this may get pulled by the jet stream and just literally sucked up through the northern Atlantic and possibly broken up. But there is the possibility that if it does get pulled up by the jet stream, this could impact anywhere from the coastlines of Portugal, France, Spain. I mean, it could make its way all the way up to the UK. So over the course of the next couple of days, we're going to be paying very, very close attention to that. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Just bear with me 1 second here, folks. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Knowles School, and we're going to take a look at the jet stream real quick. Let's open this up to full screen here, and this is all current. Let me make sure we are in today's zone right now, and we have the jet stream. And what we're looking at here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. And this is the United States. You can see the outline of it. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull it down here. I'm going to back it out. And I want you to watch this jet stream. Okay, folks, I'm telling you for a fact that this is not in any way, shape, or form a normal jet stream pattern in the northern hemisphere. It is in complete disarray. And this is one of the main causes for all of our wild weather, our climate chaos. And this will continue for the rest of our lives. We have undergone a lot of changes on Mother Earth. But these changes are not good. They're very bad. Now, as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. And you're going to see why. You see how the jet stream, it dipped down really, really bad right here. And that is literally going to pull this tropical depression that is literally sitting over top of the panhandle of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. It's going to get pulled right up. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. And just watch the stream of air. So as you can see, there's where the convection is, and it is going to pull all of that moisture, all of that weather, directly up into the northeast part of the United States. So I am definitely going to be watching for quite a bit of flooding throughout Ohio, West Virginia, parts of Maryland, and definitely in my neck of the woods in southwestern Pennsylvania. You could also see as we pan over here, you're going to start to see all of these vortexes. Here's one circling here. Here's another one circling here. There's one forming here in the South Caribbean. Folks, it's not a good situation. Excuse me. Let's look at the southern hemisphere. Excuse me. This is the Antarctic, the South Pole. Take a look at the jet stream. It is completely erratic, in complete disarray. In the next few months, folks, we are going to go through a season change. And when we go through that season change and the Earth starts its tilt, but we are already wobbling. You know, over the course of 365 days, as we orbit our sun, the Earth is wobbling. Now, not to the extreme as I'm showing you here, but that 365 days, the Earth is wobbling. This is one of the main reasons why this jet stream is so erratic. One of the other reasons is way up here in the North Pole, there is no ice. It's pretty much melted. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show you some temperatures, and let's take a look at it. Now this is going to give us the temperature reading. I'm going to change this over to miles per hour. We're going to change this over to Fahrenheit. And let's just go dip in here. And this is the North Pole. Let's just take a peek at what the temperature is dead center. 29.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Dead center in the middle of the North Pole. Only 29 degrees. Now, just moving right over here. Let's take a look at the temperature here. And this is the North Pole. Let's take a look. 45.9 degrees. I repeat, 45.9 degrees. Folks, there's supposed to be ice in that region. Let's tilt this around a little bit. Let's look at the passage between the islands of northern Canada and Greenland. Let's just take a look here. And let's get real close up here and let's see what the temperature is in real time. 39.2 degrees. I repeat, 39.2 degrees. Let's take a little spin over here and let's take a look at the most northern tiers of Norway and Sweden. Let's get way, way up there. 38.1 degrees. Let's move up here. 38 degrees. Way up here. Folks, the top of the earth is warm. It's very, very warm. As you can see by the color code, green, that's very, very moderate temperatures. And the more yellow you get, the warmer it gets. The oranger colors are, they're pretty warm. We could dip over here, see what's going on in Africa. 101.1 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, folks, whenever you start seeing these very, very hot temperatures here, this is what creates the hurricane season for the east coast of the United States and the Caribbean. And already, you can see a system brewing right here. And that's the system that we were looking at that may possibly get sucked up into the northern Atlantic. But the way that you are seeing the wind currents, it wants to bring it straight across the Atlantic Ocean and right into the east coast of the United States. But it's very, very early right now to judge that. Let's take a look at some other temperatures right now. Over in the Middle East, 93 degrees. That's not too bad. Folks, today in my neck of the woods here in the Pittsburgh area, we reached a high of about 97 degrees. The humidity was so bad that our heat index was 101 degrees. I'm going to zoom in here, Southern California. Let's take a look at some temperatures. 102.8 degrees. Let's take a look here, a little part of South Central California, 98.8 degrees. And folks, real quick, you see these nice two vortexes of air. This is the one storm system that we were looking at. Here's another one right here. And again, we're going to keep on seeing these crazy vortexes. They're going to form into storms, hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons, depending on what side of the world that you're on. Let's take a look at the little tiny island nation of Iceland. What a name, huh? Who would really want to live in Iceland? But the people there, absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look at their temperatures. 40 degrees. 39.6. But then in this higher elevation, right here where it's blue, and I believe this is one of their really, really high volcanoes, 31.2. So it is just above, right below freezing. So that is absolutely incredible. These temperatures are they're just insane. And people keep saying, oh, we're going into, an ice age. But in fact, folks, the Earth is heating up. There's just no doubt about it. Let's take a look over here. Not too bad, 80 degrees. Let's look at the desert area one more time, 102, almost 103 degrees. This is mainly desert area. And I often wonder, folks, when these storms start to flow off of this section of Africa, where do they come from? There's pretty much nothing but desert, barren land, no water. You can see the rivers. The rivers are down here. How are they producing moisture? I often think that maybe some type of weather modification is located somewhere in this area to heat the atmosphere and then create the man-made hurricanes as they steer them directly across the Atlantic Ocean. So, folks, there is a lot to watch for. Everybody that will be in the path of the storm system that's going to be moving up through the Ohio Valley and into the East Coast, please, watch the weather very, very carefully. These storm systems are going to be moving in within the next couple of days, and the whole entire central part of the United States is going to get soaked, and we're probably going to have a lot of torrential flooding and the possibilities of instantaneous tornado touchdowns. So, folks, if you don't have a weather app on your cell phone with an emergency service beep, listen, take the time now, download one if you live in any of these regions, because, folks, we haven't seen anything yet. We are in store for some really, really wild weather as we move into the fall season here in the Northern Hemisphere. And from what I've been seeing, this wild weather, this climate chaos, it's here to stay. So be prepared. Have some emergency supplies on hand. Most definitely an emergency kit in case someone gets cut or injured. You want to have that first aid kit. You can pick one of those up online, and pretty soon you'll be able to pick up a lot of this survival merchandise right here on MFA Media Group's new website. So we're working on all of that. You definitely want to have some bottled water. You definitely want to have that flashlight with extra batteries. But folks, most important, you want to have a plan. And for all of you that have families out there, sit your family down. Get serious with your wife, your husband, your kids. Get a plan together. Make sure you know where everybody is at all times during climate chaos. Because again, climate chaos is here to stay. It is now part of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining me for all of the information coming in out of Japan. Take a moment, bow your head, and say a prayer for these fantastic people in Japan. This is Scott for MFA Media Group, signing off. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great evening and be safe.